Bartenders, what's the most insane thing you've ever witnessed? I worked at this dive bar in Boston for just 3 months last year. We had this regular named Tommy who came in every Tuesday with his beagle puppy hidden in his jacket. Nobody minded because the dog was super quiet. One night, this fancy-dressed businessman walks in, already tipsy. He orders our most expensive whiskey, then spills it all over his suit. Instead of being mad, he just laughs and orders another round for everyone at the bar. 20 people, top-shelf drinks. Must have cost him over $300. Tommy's sitting there with his hidden puppy when the businessman spots the dog's nose poking out. He absolutely loses it, but not how you'd expect. The guy drops to his knees, starts crying, saying the dog looks exactly like his childhood pet that died saving him from a house fire. The whole bar goes completely silent. This grown man in a $2,000 suit is sobbing on our dirty floor, petting this beagle puppy. Tommy, who never talks to anyone, slides over and offers to let the guy hold his dog. The businessman immediately calms down, then pulls out his phone and shows us a picture. It's him as a kid with an identical beagle. Then he makes a call right there. 10 minutes later, a car pulls up outside. The driver walks in carrying a beagle puppy with the exact same markings as Tommy's dog. Turns out the businessman called a breeder he knows and bought a puppy on the spot for $1,500. He hands it to Tommy and says, "My dog saved my life once. Maybe this one will save yours." Tommy starts crying now. He tells everyone that he got his puppy after his wife died last year, and it was the only thing keeping him going. The businessman and Tommy hug, and now the entire bar is either silent or sniffling. The kicker? Those two guys still meet at our bar every Tuesday. Tommy with his beagle, the businessman with his. They've become best friends, and the businessman even helped Tommy get a job at his company last month. Sometimes the craziest nights end up changing lives, not just making stories.
Has anyone ever told you something so mind-bogglingly dumb your jaw actually dropped? So I work at this coffee shop downtown, and we have this regular customer, this older guy named Frank, who comes in every Tuesday at exactly 9:15 a.m. Super nice guy, always orders the same thing, a medium dark roast, black, no sugar. One Tuesday, Frank comes in looking all excited and tells me he's going on vacation to Italy next month. I'm like, "That's awesome, Frank. First time?" He says yeah, and asks if I've ever been. I tell him I studied abroad there for a semester in college. His eyes light up and he asks, "Oh great, so you speak French?" I pause for a second, thinking I misheard him. They speak Italian in Italy, Frank." He laughs at me like I'm the one confused. No, he says, waving his hand. "Italy is in France. Everyone knows that." I think he's joking, but his face is dead serious. I gently explain that Italy is its own country, separate from France with its own language. Frank's coffee stops midway to his mouth. He looks genuinely shocked. Wait, so Paris isn't in Italy? At this point, my coworker Sarah, who's been listening, has to walk into the back room because she's trying not to laugh. I pull out my phone and show Frank a map. He stares at it for a full minute before saying, "Well, I'll be darned. My wife and I have been planning this trip for 6 months. We've been practicing French phrases every night." What makes it even crazier? Frank isn't just some random guy. Turns out he's a retired high school principal. He ran an entire school for 25 years. When I told my parents this story, my dad actually recognized Frank's name. That man gave me my diploma in 1992. Now, whenever Frank comes in, he brings his travel book and asks me questions about Italy. Last week, he showed me his new phrase book, Italian this time, and gave me a wink. Thanks for saving me from looking like a complete idiot in Rome. Sometimes the smartest people can miss the most basic things, and it's a good reminder that it's okay to help someone learn something new, no matter how obvious it might seem. Mothers, what's the worst thing you've ever done? My son brought his girlfriend Sarah home last week. Sweet girl, helped with dishes without being asked, but something about her face haunted me all night. I couldn't shake the feeling I'd seen her before. Then I caught her crying in my bathroom. Not sad tears. She was smiling, said she'd never had a family dinner without screaming or plates being thrown. My heart broke. As I hugged her, I noticed a small scar above her eyebrow. Something clicked in my brain, but I pushed the thought away. A few days later, she came over to help me garden. When my neighbor's kid screamed playing tag, she dropped her trowel, started shaking, said loud noises just startled her. But I'd seen that reaction before, in my old job as a high school counselor. That evening, my son dropped the bomb. He was proposing, wanted to use grandma's ring, called Sarah the strongest person he'd ever met, said she'd survived things I couldn't imagine. My blood ran cold. I dug through my old files that night, found it. Sarah Miller, age 15, came to my office, bruised and terrified, begged me to believe her mom was hitting her. I called CPS once. Her mom fooled them. Sarah begged for help again, but I was swamped with cases. Thought maybe she was exaggerating. I did nothing. She doesn't recognize me now. Weight gain, different hair color. But that scar, it's from the day after she left my office. Her mom threw a glass at her. Yesterday, I finally told my son everything. He just stared at me, said Sarah still wakes up screaming some nights. Today, I'm meeting her to confess, to say I'm the counselor who failed her, the one who could have stopped her pain, but didn't. The ring box is sitting on my table. My son wants to propose to someone I could have saved years ago. Turns out my worst mistake wasn't what I did. It was what I didn't do. Have you ever noticed someone checking out your child? I was convinced this woman at Target was obsessed with my 8-year-old son, Kieran. Every time we shopped, she'd appear in whatever aisle we were in, staring at him with this intense look like she was memorizing his face. The first real incident happened when Kieran was comparing Pokemon cards. She walked straight up to him and said, "Excuse me, does your son like Transformers?" Her voice was shaky, desperate. Before I could answer, she grabbed a toy off the shelf. My son loved this one. I pulled Kieran away immediately. As we left, I heard her call out, "His name was Caspian." 2 weeks later, I found her in our driveway. She was just sitting in her car when we got home from school. When she saw me notice her, she drove off fast, but not before Kieran asked, "Mom, why is that lady always wherever we go?" My husband installed security cameras that weekend. The footage showed her driving by our house multiple times, sometimes getting out to look through our mailbox. Once, she left a Transformer toy on our doorstep with a note that just said, "For Kieran," from Caspian's mom. I called the police, but they said it wasn't technically illegal. The next day, Kieran came running in from the backyard crying, "Mom, that lady was watching me through the fence. She was taking pictures." I ran outside and saw her car speeding away, but but I found fresh footprints in the mud by our back gate. That's when I discovered she'd been asking about us at Kieran's school. The secretary mentioned a woman had come in claiming to be his aunt, wanting to know his schedule. They didn't give her any information, but it terrified me that she'd escalated to that level. The breaking point came when I was grocery shopping alone. She approached me in the parking lot and grabbed my arm. "Please, I just need to talk to you about your son. You don't understand what this means to me." Her grip was tight enough to leave marks. I screamed for help and she ran, but security found her hiding behind the dumpsters 20 minutes later. They banned her from the shopping center, but the next week she was waiting outside Lucas's school. I watched through the window as she tried to approach other parents, showing them something on her phone. The principal called the police and had her removed from school property. Last Tuesday was the final confrontation. We were in the cereal aisle when she appeared again, closer than ever before. This time she brought someone with her, an older woman who kept nudging her forward, whispering encouragement. I could hear fragments. "Just go talk to her," and "She seems nice enough." That's when I completely lost it. My protective instincts kicked into overdrive. I marched right up to her with Lucas behind me, my voice louder than I intended. "Lady, I don't know what your deal is with my kid, but you need to back off right now. I've been documenting you following us for months. It's creepy, it's inappropriate, and it needs to stop immediately." Her face went completely white. The older woman grabbed her arm protectively. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you," she whispered. "You've been stalking us, following my son around stores, staring at him like some kind of—" That's when she started crying, right there in front of the Cheerios, tears streaming down her face. "He looks exactly like my son," she choked out. I felt my anger pause. "What?" With shaking hands, she pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. It was Kieran. Same blonde hair, same gap-toothed smile, same bright blue eyes, same everything, except it wasn't Kieran. "This is Caspian," she whispered, her voice breaking completely. "He would have been 8 next month. Car accident last year." She looked at Kieran, then back at the photo. "I know it's wrong, but seeing your boy, for just a second, I can pretend he's still here." The older woman stepped forward. "I'm her mother. I've been trying to get her help, but she won't stop coming here. She says this is the only place she can see him again." I stood there feeling like the absolute worst person alive. She wasn't a predator. She wasn't a stalker. She was a grieving mother who saw her dead child's face in mine.